Nightmare Hotel by Gus. This story is very true, and it turned me into a believer in ghosts. I have never been as terrified as I was that night. This takes place in a hotel in a small town 6 years ago when I was traveling for work. I was getting tired from driving, so I decided to hit the next motel I came across. This motel was set up more like renting a cabin, which was fine by me. I was tired and just want to get some sleep. I pulled into the parking lot, which was lit by one streetlight. I didn't think this place was open at first, but then I saw there was a car parked beside the office. I parked my car and walked into the office. It's a small area. There's no door for me to be able to get past the front desk, so obviously there was a door in the back for the employees to come in through. I stood at the counter. There was nobody there. I heard a TV somewhere beyond the desk. I just rang the bell on the counter, and this short, round, older woman came out, looking none too pleased that I had interrupted her TV show. I told her I needed a room for the night, just one night, and that I'd be leaving early in the morning. She wiggled the mouse to wake up her computer. She really didn't say much, so I tried to make small talk, telling her that she really needed to fix the other 3 streetlights in the parking lot. It was really dark, and she needed to turn her open sign on. She just looked up at me and didn't say anything, so I stopped talking. She asked if I wanted a kitchenette and 2 beds. I said no, and 1 bed is fine. I told her that I would be leaving early in the morning. She was actually moving pretty slowly and kept looking up at me with this weird expression on her face. I couldn't quite place it. Anyways, after she handed me the key and I paid, I thanked her and walked back out the door I came in and went to the cabin. I don't know what else to call it. It wasn't really a cabin, but it also really wasn't a hotel room. It was roughly 50 feet from the office, behind it to the side, with no lights on the porch or anything. So I had to use my phone's flashlight, so I wouldn't trip and kill myself going up the stairs into this room. Fumbling with my phone and the key, I finally got the door unlocked and I walked in. It smelled very musty inside, like it hadn't been used in quite some time. I moved my light around to find a light switch and flipped the lights on. It was a simple room. The bed was on the left side of the room with nightstands on each side, a lamp, and a little room off to the right, which I assumed was the bathroom. There was a big mirror on the right and a dresser underneath it. There was no TV, which I was fine with because I was just going to go straight to sleep. I was so tired. I put my luggage on the chair that was next to the dresser, got out my stuff for getting ready for bed, and went into the bathroom. I washed my face and used the bathroom, and all of a sudden, it sounded like somebody was messing with a plastic bag in the room. So, I called out saying, "No, I don't need room service, thank you." I didn't get a response, but yet I still kept hearing what sounded like somebody messing with a plastic bag. So, I got up from doing my business, went out of the bathroom, and looked around the room. There was nobody there. I thought it strange, maybe it was just the heater rattling as it hadn't been used in a while, not thinking anything of it. I sat down on the bed and started responding to emails that I had gotten while I was driving. Out of the corner of my eye, I could have sworn I saw something moving. I looked up, and there was nothing there except that giant mirror. I just looked at the mirror at my reflection and looked back down on the phone. Continuing to type the email, again out of the corner of my eye, I caught movement again. I just shook my head and just chalked it up to me being very tired. I put my phone on the charger and turned the lights out. I was about to drift off to sleep when all of a sudden, it sounded like somebody was trying to open the door. I rolled over and looked at the door and turned my light on, and it sounded like somebody was trying to use a key to get into my door. I said, "There's somebody in here," and it stops. I didn't hear footsteps. I didn't hear people talking. I didn't hear anything other than my breathing. I waited a few more minutes, then shook my head, turned the lamp off, and laid back down. I woke up sometime later, absolutely freezing when I woke up and realized I didn't have any blankets on anymore. Turned the lamp on. They were on the floor across the room in a pile, like somebody just grabbed them off the bed and tossed them in the corner. I wish I could say that at this point I was starting to get freaked out, but actually I was getting frustrated because I just wanted to go to sleep because I had to get up early and leave so I could make it to this big meeting that I was supposed to be doing on time. So, I got out of bed, picked up the blankets, and went back to sleep, trying to get warm again. The heater was running, I checked. Grumbling, I went back to bed. I was actually sleeping pretty well when all of a sudden, I was awakened by somebody pounding on the wall above my head. I jerked up, turned the light on, and no one was there. I'm looking around, gasping, scared out of my mind, and I sat there, just listening. Then, outside of the wall my bed was up against, I could hear somebody laughing in the distance. It was faint, but I heard it. I sat there with the light on, just waiting for my heart to stop pounding. And when I didn't hear anything else, I again turned the lamp off and tried to go back to sleep. At this point, I'm actually starting to get a little nervous. I was awakened again by somebody pounding on the door. I jerked up out of bed, but I didn't turn the light on this time. My heart was pounding so hard that I swear I could hear it. I sat there listening, and I heard that laughing again, only it was closer. I didn't say anything. I tried to not make any sound, thinking maybe it was one of the neighboring cabins. The occupants were drunk and just being annoying. I didn't want drama, so I just stayed quiet. That laughing continued off the porch and walked around the cabin, and then I started hearing soft tappings coming from the wall next to the bed. This tapping traveled all the way around the cabin, and along with those tappings, I heard a woman's muffled crying. I'm straight up freaked out right now. I'm sitting on the bed, trying to be as quiet as I can, when suddenly, I hear a scraping and then a loud thump in the room. I jumped so high out of the bed and plastered myself against the wall so fast that the blankets didn't even have time to settle. Shaken, I reach for the lamp and turn it on, only to find my suitcase on the opposite side of the room from where it was when I went to sleep. I look at it in disbelief, thinking there's no way that could have happened. I walk over quietly, pick up the contents, put them back in the suitcase, and place it back on the chair, still scratching my head as to how that happened. As I walked by the mirror, I could have sworn I saw somebody standing in it out of the corner of my eye. I whipped my head around to look, and it was just me in the mirror, looking terrified. I go back to the bed, and I don't turn the lamp off this time. I leave it on as I'm utterly terrified. I glance at my phone, and it's a little after 1 a.m. I rubbed my face, and tried to calm myself down. There had to be a reasonable explanation for all of it, and I tried not to think about it, so I lay back down and tried very hard to go back to sleep. I tell myself to go back to sleep and wake up in the morning in a few hours and leave this nightmare behind me. I must have fallen asleep because the next thing I know is that I feel the sensation of being pulled off the bed. I let out a little grunt and fight to get my leg back and pull myself back up onto the bed, just sitting there petrified, breath heavy, heart pounding out of my chest, eyes wide. Now I knew for a fact that there was no way I was going back to sleep at this point, so I just sat on the bed with the light on in total silence, hoping and praying that I would make it out of this. So I decided, well, if I'm not going to go to sleep, maybe I'll just try to distract myself by playing a game on my phone. So I get my phone and I start a game, and I'm playing it for a good hour. Then I start smelling like somebody had just lit a match. I look up from my phone in confusion, and I see smoke or mist or something float across the room, going from the bathroom to the front door. I sit there confused, staring at it, watching it happen. I get out of bed and I walk into the bathroom to see what was going on, and there's nothing. I was in the bathroom for maybe, a minute, 2 minutes, looking around, making sure there wasn't something burning. I don't know what would be burning. When I walked out of the bathroom, my jaw literally hit the floor. The bed was completely unmade, and in the middle of the room, the chair was on top of the bed. My luggage was strewn about the entire floor. The mirror that had been hanging on the wall was now on the floor, shattered. How could all of that happen without a sound? At this point, I am so terrified that I am almost hyperventilating. I just grab my stuff, grab my phone, don't even worry about unplugging the charger, and fly out the door, not caring that I am in my boxers and no shoes. I grab my stuff, throw it in my car, and peel out of that parking lot so fast. It takes me a good 7 miles before I finally start breathing normally. I get to the next town, and I pull over into a very well-lit parking lot and just sit there, staring as if I was shell-shocked. Finally, I realize that I am pretty much naked and that my luggage is just all thrown in the back seat. So I grab my stuff, get dressed, and look for the nearest restaurant so I can get breakfast and a lot of coffee. I try calling that hotel after my meeting to let them know what happened and that I didn't destroy the room. It was a younger woman I was on the phone with. She expressed confusion, saying that that room was not usable, and I said, "Well, what do you mean it wasn't usable? I stayed in it last night." And she's like, "That's not possible because it doesn't even have floors." I just stood there, staring in disbelief. How could I have imagined all of this? The lady on the other end was asking who I talked to, and I said I never got her name. She was short, plump, and I kind of heard the woman gasp a little. She says, "That's not possible. She passed away about 5 years ago." I hung up on her. I slowly sat down and tried to come to terms with everything that happened and everything that she had just said on the phone. How do you come to terms with that? How do you wrap your mind around events that take place with no logical explanation? I don't talk about those events because I get mixed reactions. Some people look at me like I'm crazy, and others get interested, but those events that happened that night terrified me to my core. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like and subscribe button, and also share it. If you have a story that's spooky or unexplainable, and want to see it published into a video, feel free to send me an email. My email is in my bio. Thank you for the support,